Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Careful for Spoilers. I am your host James Barnes, and today guys I'm joined once again by Brad and Blake, and we are going to be talking about our thoughts on The Mandalorian Chapter 4. Tim Miller says he'll never work with James Cameron again, and Avatar 2 actually finished principal photography. All that and a lot more coming up on this episode. So before we get into the main topics, I just wanted to talk about how did you guys like your Thanksgiving? I've been spending my entire Thanksgiving weekend just playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah, we picked up Fallen Order over the holiday break too, and I've been seeing it played. I haven't had a chance to play it yet myself, but everything I've seen from it so far is awesome.
Yeah, I've been playing it a little bit. For Thanksgiving, we were in Texas visiting family. That was a lot of fun. Got to do some Black Friday shopping. Included in that was Fallen Order. I haven't played a lot of it, but I like the smooth combat and everything. I like the Assassin's Creed type movement, the kind of Arkham / Assassin's Creed style combat. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The little bit that I've played of it, I like the different planets that I recognize, the characters I recognize from books or comic books or video games or whatever. It's been fun.
Yeah, I've been having so much fun playing this game. I was playing it for like 9 hours yesterday.
Nice.
I just could not put it down. I'm like, dude, you gotta go to sleep. You have to go to work today, tomorrow. But I've been having so much fun with this game. That's pretty much all I've been doing all weekend. I did do some Black Friday shopping. I got The Dark Knight Rises, and Batman Begins in 4K, finally, because they were all like $10 at Best Buy. I got the Expendables Director's Cut, because it was like $3 on Blu-ray. I'm like, fuck it. Finally got Aquaman on 4K because that was $8.
Wow.
So yeah, I got a bunch of Blu-rays this weekend, so it was just a lot of fun.
All the Blu-ray sales I saw were just like stuff that's on Disney Plus now. It was just like all the Marvel stuff and a bunch of Disney stuff that I saw for like $9. I didn't see a lot of good Blu-ray deals, but you got all of them, I guess.
Yeah, I got some really good stuff.
Yeah, we didn't hit up Best Buy, so I guess we missed out on the good Blu-rays.
Yeah, but they had a lot of really good Blu-rays there and a lot of other cool deals on like games and stuff. But I want to dive into our review of The Mandalorian Chapter 4 Sanctuary. I really, really like this episode. Episode 3 is still my favorite, but this was a really good episode. I thought the pacing was really good. I think after having an episode that's so action-packed, you need a moment to just breathe for a little bit, and I felt like this episode gives you that at the beginning, and then it just gives you a great action set piece right at the end. So what did you guys think of this episode overall?
Yeah, I loved the episode. I thought it was directed really well by Bryce Dallas Howard. I loved Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, like that badass name. Like, I love it. It was so cool. I love what you're saying about it. It's kind of a breather episode for a minute until you find out what's really going on this planet and how he kind of steps up to help this community. But it's also the cutest that Baby Yoda has ever been, from the very first scene with him fiddling with the controls on the ship to him drinking his little cup of bone broth. It's ridiculous. I can't take how cute Baby Yoda is.
I know, right?
Yeah, he's somehow getting cuter every episode. This wasn't my favorite episode. I still agree with you that episode 3 is still my favorite one, but Bryce Dallas Howard proves again that she can direct television really, really well. I'd like to see what she can do in the movies director's chair. I think that she could do a really good job. This episode started out and I was like, is this The Mandalorian? I was a little bit confused, and then I saw as it was going on, it feels very like Clone Wars to me, this episode does, where it's just kind of a side mission in this small town. You're helping out with small villagers that are kind of being shit on by some other group. It's a nice little side compact episode by itself, but it also does small things that you learn more about the Mandalorian religion and a few more details about not wearing the mask and things.
Yeah, we actually saw him take the helmet off so he could eat, but I'm wondering, and I hope we don't, but I'm wondering if we'll actually ever see his face.
I don't know.
I hope we don't in this season, at least.
Yeah, I hope we don't at all. I mean, it's such a huge part of being a Mandalorian. It just wouldn't make sense for them to write away just for us to see Pedro Pascal's face. Now, there is one thing. There's a mistake in this episode. Around the 16-minute, 37-second mark, there's actually a boom mic hanging down in the middle of the frame. It's inside this room where the Mandalorian is talking to Amira right before he lets Baby Yoda go and play with her daughter. holy shit, I saw it, and then it just moves out of frame. I'm like, how did you not catch this? This is insane,
This
dude.
is $20 million an episode, and you miss a boom mic shot.
Yeah, I was like,
notice it.
yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
Game of Thrones had the coffee cup.
Oh my God, there's so many things.
Like so many different things this last season, and it was millions and millions of dollars too. So I have no idea how they don't catch these things before they go to air, but it happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, with Game of Thrones, nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody on that set cared at that point. If you watched that season, you know nobody cared.
It's true.
So I was looking on IMDb, and Gina Carano is actually in season 1 for another 2 episodes.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see what else she's going to do, because she's not going to be with him in the next episode, because she offers to go with him, and he says no, but she's in 2 other episodes. So I'm very excited to see what she's going to do next. I love her character. She fucks him up. At the beginning of the episode, I thought that was really cool. My favorite shot of the entire episode is right at the end, where the ATST is standing up in the dark, and you just see the red eyes in the middle of the trees. I'm like, that was sick.
Yeah, it's badass.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I'm loving being able to see just little bits of the remnants of the Empire, and seeing these pirates using this ATST to try to get what are they farming for? Krill? I have no idea what krill is, but it seems like this is like a krill farming planet. Where do you think they're gonna go from here? Do you think they'll try to find like another planet? Do you think they'll find like a space station where they can hang out? Like,
I really have no idea where this show's gonna go, and that's kind of what I've loved about it. Is episode to episode, I'm like, each episode's ended in a way where I'm like, I can't predict what's going to happen. Not a lot of shows do that, where it kind of ends and you're like, okay, so now in this next episode it should be about this. Each episode's ended and I've been like, I don't know what they're going to do now, and then they do something crazy, and I love it.
Yeah,
I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I love kind of being in the dark with this being a brand new story, not based on any particular other Star Wars story that we've seen before. Like, being able to kind of not really know what's going to happen next is exciting episode to episode, and I'm glad that they're releasing these episodes week to week instead of all at once, so we get that anticipation of, oh my god, what's going to happen next.
Yeah, there's parts of me that wishes that they just released it all so I could just binge it all, but I'm actually enjoying watching it week to week because I'm looking forward to it every single week. I just want to see what happens next on The Mandalorian. So let's move on to our next topic. Tim Miller says, after reflecting on everything that happened behind the scenes of the film, what the film made at the box office, he says that he doesn't want to work with James Cameron ever again. Now, I feel 2 ways about this. I feel like Tim Miller is a director. The director, it is his job to craft the film to his image, but at the same time, you're just doing a job. The person that's actually in charge is the executive producer, who is James Cameron, and he does have final say and final cut on the film. Now, with everything that's been going on in the news about them, where do you guys land on this? Do you feel like Tim Miller is just being really extra about this entire situation, or do you feel like he is vindicated in some way?
I feel like he's totally vindicated. I think that the movie's terrible, and it doesn't surprise me that neither one of them want to work together based on the things that I've read in the news. A lot of the elements that, even the people that like the movie, a lot of the elements that they didn't like about the movie came from James Cameron directly, about him forcing certain story elements in there and forcing certain I'll be back lines and things like that. Like, these are all of kind of the worst elements of the movie, and it seemed like Tim Miller wanted to do something different, and James Cameron kind of wanted to do the same thing, and that's why that movie feels to me like a mess and like 2 different movies. And this is not really a surprising story after all this news that's come out. I'm on Tim Miller's side totally. I think the director needs to decide what is in the movie. That's why he's the director.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that yes, the executive producer has the final say, but the executive producer is also the one who probably had a big hand in deciding who's going to direct this movie. So he kind of knew what he was getting with Tim Miller, and to kind of say, like, I want you to do this and that and this and that, and it has to be this way and it has to be this way. Why didn't James Cameron just direct the fucking movie himself if he was gonna nitpick so much? Like, I don't understand. Like, just let the guy work. And you obviously you have a script that has 3 different names on it, so who knows how much of those were rewrites, how much of those were actually like them collaborating. We don't know. To Blake's point, I don't think it's a terrible movie. I had fun with it, but it does at times feel like there are 2 different movies kind of clashing and so I understand the conflict that was going on between Miller and Cameron. I'm totally on Tim Miller's side in this. Like, he had a bad experience. He doesn't want to work with them again. Okay, yeah, I don't blame him. So, yeah, I mean, I'm totally on the director's side in this case.
Yeah, like I said, I'm on both sides because, I mean, again, you were just hired to do the job that I give you to do. So you kind of have to go ahead and do that job. But the point of being a director is being able to craft a film the way you want to see it crafted. There were certain pieces of dialogue that Tim Miller wanted in there. James Cameron was like, nah, I don't like that. Tim Miller thought that the heroes should be losing in the future and win in the past ultimately, which is what you think would happen. But James Cameron wanted the heroes to be winning in the future and in the past. And James Cameron's thoughts on it was, how dramatic is it if they're losing in the future? And Tim Miller was like, well, how dramatic is it if they're just winning on both sides? So it's like you can constantly see them clashing about this. And it just sucks because I thought the movie was good. There are parts of it that I wish didn't exist. It cost them $185 million to make, minus marketing. And as of right now, it's been a month and a week. It's only made $250 million worldwide. Like, it's barely made anything at all. So it's like the thoughts of sequels, I just don't see it happening right now, especially with James Cameron directing all of these Avatar movies. He's not going to come back to direct anytime soon. I just don't know what's going to happen with this. But I don't know. There is a part of me that feels like Tim Miller can be difficult to work with because the same thing happened with him and Ryan Reynolds on Deadpool 2. He wanted certain things and then that just didn't work at all. Did you guys hear about the things that he wanted in Deadpool 2?
No.
So he wanted the Thing to be in there instead of Juggernaut. He kind of wanted to be that first introduction into bringing in the Fantastic Four, doing some more weird stuff. He wanted to change up the villains. Ryan didn't want that. How do you guys feel about that?
I think that it was a good call to not do that because the sequence with Juggernaut is maybe the best sequence in the movie as far as like action sequences go. It's also hilarious at the same time, which is exactly what you want from a Deadpool action sequence. I think that it would have been strange, especially as close. I mean, was he wanting to use the Fan Four Stick cast? Like,
no, not at all.
So, yeah, like, this close to Fan Four Stick happening, like, it's just way too soon, I think. Like, there's got to be some time before we tackle the Fantastic Four again. And it's going to be done over at Marvel, and it's hopefully going to be done well. But, yeah, I think that it would have been too much too soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been completely too much to try to force in like a backwards kind of origin story. Well, not origin, but just kind of backwards introduction to the Fantastic Four in this universe. And then I guess you could just have Deadpool make a joke about it, and then it would be okay. But I'm just glad the way that the film came out. I don't think Tim Miller was right in this case, but I think he's a great director. I love to see what his effects company does with visual effects in his films, and I would love to see what he does next. I hope he does really, really great, incredible things. A producer at Legendary said he can't wait to work with Tim Miller again, so I hope they do great things. So on the topic of Fan Four Stick, because I refuse to call it Fantastic Four, Josh Trank actually took time and reviewed Fan Four Stick. So before I go into his comments, what did you guys think about that movie?
It's almost as bad as Justice League for me. It's like those are like two of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen in my life. They're barely complete movies. It's like Scorsese probably saw this and was like, that's not cinema, and I agree with that.
Yeah, It's a rough watch because there are many competing films happening in this movie. Not really sure what they were going for. Like it changes tones drastically. It is very much an example of a studio completely fucking the direction or the director's vision. And I feel for Josh Trank. This was only his second outing, and this is what happened to him. I think that it's interesting he's been so vocal from the get-go about this not being the vision for the movie that he had. But at the same time, it's like, how much of that actually got shot? Because there's not really any storylines or sections of the movie that I even find that interesting. So I don't know how much better it could have turned out if we had gotten his vision of it.
Yeah.
I don't think that the movie could have really been. There's no shining hope, or there's no like single moment, or like the cast is a good cast, and I think it's all their individually worst performances. Like hair changes and wig changes that are drastic, and like it's a mess. It's barely a full length movie. Like I don't think there's any point that this could have been fixed.
Yeah, I actually like the first 40 minutes of the movie. I think the first 40 minutes has potential. It introduces these kids who go to this other dimension, get powers, come back, and then they realize how terrible it can be. Like, Johnny just wakes up and he's on fire, and shit, why am I forgetting the thing's name? Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
Like, he just wakes up and he's this huge fucking giant rock monster. Josh Trank wanted to go for more of the horror elements of having powers, which I find interesting, which is why I like Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's take on Superman. Having powers isn't sunshine and rainbows all the time, and I like that take. It's just after that 40-minute mark, it becomes a completely different movie, and it's just a dumpster fire. So this is what he said reviewing his film. He's like, great cast, everyone in the film is a great actor, and overall there is a movie in there somewhere, and that cast deserves to be in that movie. Everyone who worked on Fat Four Stick clearly wanted to be making that movie, but ultimately it wasn't. Did I make the movie that it deserved to be? To be honest, I can't tell. What I can tell is there are two different movies in one movie competing to be that movie. Is there a release the Trank cut? Doesn't matter. I'm not Zack Snyder. Now, the thing is, when he says, did I make the movie they deserve to be in? And he says, I can't tell. Dude, you saw the final cut of the movie. You can tell that's not the movie you wanted to make.
Yeah.
It's not the movie. I hope this wasn't the movie that the studio wanted to make. It's just you hit a deadline and you just release what you have, and it just fucking sucks, because I love his first film. What was the name? Chronicle. Yeah. I fucking love Chronicle, and I think Chronicle is prime for a Fantastic Four type of property. I think when you look at Chronicle and you hear Josh Trank is going to direct Fantastic Four, it's like, oh, well, that's a no-brainer. Just look at Chronicle. This was such a great film. He would do a great job with this, but like you said, it was only his second film, and the studio wanted to make this movie because they failed previously. Every time they put out a Fantastic Four movie, it doesn't do well, and they wanted to make sure that they could get a return. Didn't happen. I really hated this movie besides the first 40 minutes. It's sad, because I actually thought that the cast was really good. I thought the cast had potential. It just didn't work out whatsoever.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Yeah, so let us move on to our next topic, where we're going to be talking about Sin City is going to be getting a TV series. How fucking sick is this? With Robert Rodriguez possibly directing? This is dope. I think Sin City is prime for a TV series instead of trying to stick everything from the graphic novel into a film. What do you guys think?
I think it would work perfect as a mini-series, because like my favorite way to watch the Sin City movie is the one where it's split up into individual stories and it feels like you're watching episodes of a television series. I think that the series and the way that it's written perfectly lends itself to like 45-minute, like we're going with Mandalorian, like 40-minute episodes. Just do one of the stories in Sin City. There's Sin City stories in the books that they haven't done yet on film in either the first or the second. They could do some of those. They could do original stories. Sin City is prime for television. I think this is perfect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could not be more excited about this. Sin City and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World are my two favorite non-Marvel, non-DC comic book movies ever. I absolutely love Sin City, and I'm so excited that it looks like they're working with Frank Miller as well. So hopefully he'll be writing some new stories like he did in the other two movies. I think that Blake's completely right. It completely lends itself to this format, and having the individual stories and individual episodes and then kind of linking them in the ways that they do in the graphic novel would be perfect for a mini-series or an anthology series.
Yeah, for sure. Did you guys like A Dame to Kill For?
I did.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It's not as good as the first one, but I really liked A Dame to Kill For. I don't know what it is, but I am in love with Eva Green.
Oh, she's amazing.
I don't know what it is. I think she's a great actress, and I think she's fucking gorgeous. I thought it was great. Josh Brolin is in that movie, correct?
Yeah. He plays the original version of the character that Clive Owen plays in the first one.
I really liked him in the movie. Yeah. I thought everyone was great. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was great. I thought it was such a good movie. I can't wait to see more of it. I did not like The Spirit.
Not
I
a
felt
fan of
like
The Spirit.
I liked the style of how they did The Spirit, but it just did not work. Blake, did you see The Spirit?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's Frank Miller directed an adaptation of an old 1950s comic strip called The Spirit.
Okay.
And it had like Sam Jackson in it.
Scarlett
Johansson.
I can't remember the guy who played The Spirit, though.
I can't remember either. It was
so forgettable.
Yeah, it was just not good. It was done in the same kind of, almost the same visual style as Sin City, but not quite. And
Gotcha.
And maybe Frank Miller shouldn't be sitting in the director's chair. I love his writing and his art style, but maybe not as a film director.
Didn't he direct A Dame to Kill For, though?
No, Robert Rodriguez.
He co-directed.
Co-directed. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
but he does. I think that movie's awesome. So I think.
The first Sin City is co-directed by him as well.
Oh, gotcha.
But you have Robert Rodriguez there to help guide the ship a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So next up, I want to talk about the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker script getting leaked onto eBay. And it looks like a Lucasfilm employee actually saw it before anyone else could make major bids on it and was able to get the script returned. So we found out a couple days ago that John Boyega was actually the one who left his script under his bed. Apparently it was there from when they were shooting, and he just left it there. He forgot about it, and then when he moved out of that apartment, the person cleaning the room just found a script and was like, oh, this is a script. It has to be John Boyega's script, and they just put it up on eBay for like £80 or something like that. It's fucking ridiculous. They didn't even read the script. They had no idea that it was a Star Wars script.
That's hilarious. That they could have made so much money, and they asked for £80.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They was like, oh, it's a script with John Boyega in it. I can make some money off of this.
Yeah. When the story first came out and they weren't saying which actor it was, we were all like, it's John Boyega, right? It has to be John Boyega. He's the only one that would do something this stupid. I love him, but he's always just doing like dumb, weird stuff. It just makes sense that he did this.
It's ridiculous though, because when you look at like the Marvel movies, they get these scripts on tablets, which are locked. No one else can get into them. I think maybe JJ should have done the same thing. Maybe this is a trend that should be good going forward, because just these paper scripts, dude, you could make millions. This is the end of the Skywalker saga, and you sell the script to Rise of Skywalker before the film comes out. It would be nuts. Like, you could make millions easily. People pay millions for less. Like, it's crazy. He was on Fallon or Kimmel, and then he went on Good Morning America to talk about it. I'm like, at least he's owning up to it.
True. Yeah, this is something that like could be catastrophic, but obviously they were able to avoid any type of like full on leaked script. But yeah, it's definitely an embarrassing situation, but he's kind of a goofy guy anyway, so like I see him handling this really well.
Yeah. Do you guys have any like box office predictions for Rise of Skywalker? Like, what do you think it'll make opening weekend?
I'm in the like around 185 million camp just because of the poor performance of Solo. I don't know how, if Star Wars fatigue is real, then we're going to find out with this movie. Thankfully, we get a breather after this for a handful of years before they're going to make another movie, so they can avoid that fatigue. But I don't see people being as excited because of how Last Jedi was received by most fans and the box office performance of Solo.
Yeah, Blake?
For the exact reasons, I'm going like 175 to 180 million. I don't think it's going to hit that 200. I think it'll be the first episode to not hit 200 million. Unfortunately. I
actually think it's going to hit like 250, 260, man.
I would love for that to happen.
It's the last film in the Skywalker saga. Barely anyone liked The Last Jedi. Solo was not well received. I think people will show up to see if this movie is any good, to avoid spoilers, and because it's the end of the Skywalker saga. I mean, Force Awakens opened up to, what was it, like 205 or something like that?
I think so.
Something around that number. But I think with this being the end, I think it's going to just blow up. I think it's going to become the second biggest opening weekend of all time.
I would love for that to happen, but I guess we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, right. We are so close to this movie.
Yeah, I just think that for the reasons you were saying with Solo and with The Last Jedi, I think that because of that, it won't make as much opening weekend. I think it has the potential to make the most or some of the most out of any of the Star Wars movies. But I think opening weekend, I think you're going to see a lot of people that didn't like The Last Jedi or that didn't see Solo wait, hear what other people say about it, and then go see it the next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point, dude. On to my next topic. We just have a lot of WB news going on today. Kong vs. Godzilla gets pushed back 8 months to November 2020 from its March 13th release date. Now, I kind of figured this was going to happen because if it stuck to the original release date, I mean, it's 4 months away. There's no marketing, no posters, no trailers, no teasers, nothing, no news, no additional casting news. So I was wondering what was happening. Is the film going to be pushed back? And we finally get this confirmation from Variety. What do you guys think about this? Do you think they're doing reshoots? Do you think this is just like a good idea to push it back to make sure everything's tight? What are your thoughts?
My guess is, since this is going to be such a visuals heavy movie, maybe fine-tuning those visuals. Maybe they weren't satisfied with what they had before. Maybe they're going in to do reshoots. We don't really have any information on why they're pushing it back yet at this point. But normally in this situation, it minus things like New Mutants, it ends up making the movie better because they actually are taking time to fine-tune those different elements on it. And maybe what they have right now, they're just like, we're not really proud of this. Let's go back and kind of fix everything.
Yeah. I think a lot of this actually has to do with positioning for the box office, because Godzilla, the last Godzilla movie, King of Monsters, didn't make as much as they wanted it to, and it was dead in the middle of summer. And I think they're trying to avoid that happening again. I think they see more ground in November of that year. You're not going to get a Star Wars movie that year. You're not going to get a big blockbuster later in the year necessarily.
You know what you are getting on November 6th, though, is Eternals.
Okay.
So it will be opening against Eternals. That is the one thing that I'm like, that's kind of interesting. I mean, it's a couple of weeks after Eternals that it's going to be coming out. But, I mean, to come out the same month as a Marvel movie, even at all, like as another big action movie, it's pretty ballsy.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was coming out then.
I think they're banking on the contrast. It's like, oh, we have this huge, big comic book movie. Now I want to see like a monster movie that's completely different. I think they're banking on, because it comes out 2 weeks after Eternals. So I think they're banking on, oh, everyone's going to go out and see Eternals on November 6th. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll get this movie, and it's a perfect contrast to everything else that's coming out. But I don't know. Hopefully they use this time to make sure everything's tight, make sure everything's good, because I absolutely loved the first Godzilla. I liked Kong Skull Island, and I loved King of Monsters. I can't wait for this. They planted the seed really well that Kong is just a baby and he's continuously growing. So I want to know how big he's going to be for this matchup between them. Next up, I wanted to talk about Michael B. Jordan pitching his Superman idea to WB. Now, there is an African-American version of Superman called Calvin Ellis, who was born on Krypton, and his name is actually also Kal-El. He is the president of the United States in his universe, as well as Superman. What do you guys think of going in a completely different direction with Superman, doing a different Earth version and changing ethnicities? Because he is an alien. Superman is an alien. He's not Caucasian. He's not African American. He's not anything that we have on Earth. He is an alien. It could be anyone. But what are your thoughts on this?
For that exact reason, I think that this could be a really, really great move for DC. This could be a totally different move for Superman, this character. And I think that you also have a lot that you can do within the story if he is... He appears to be black. He's Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is a black man. So you could have him in Kansas. You could have a lot more story elements there, because it might not be super easy for a black kid who's also an alien growing up in Kansas. It just adds kind of more layers to the whole alien background, how he feels disconnected from humanity. I think that you could do a lot with that storyline, and I think Michael B. Jordan is amazing. I would love to see them do this.
Yeah, for the exact same reasons, I think that this is the right move for WB. They need to go in a new direction with Superman after what's happened with Justice League and how this whole DCEU is kind of fallen apart. And I know that they're trying to pick the pieces back up, and hopefully they will with Aquaman 2 and Wonder Woman 1984, and whenever this Flash movie ends up happening, if it ends up happening. But yeah, I am really, really excited about the idea of Michael B. Jordan playing Superman, and I really hope that we get the chance to see that happen.
I really don't know if we'll ever see this supposed Flash movie. I just don't know when it'll happen. I feel like the time to do a Flash movie has already gone. I felt like you could have used Flashpoint as the perfect movie to course correct your entire universe, but they've already did it in a different way, which I like. They're just making simple movies that are loosely connected, but they're just good movies. I like Aquaman. I think Shazam's fine. Wonder Woman is great. Joker's amazing. Can't wait to see Matt Reeves' sequel, Batman trilogy. They're going in a really, really good direction, and I want to see what's going to happen next. What are your thoughts on James Gunn's The Suicide Squad? Like, are you guys excited for The Suicide Squad? Are you excited for the potential of it being rated R? Like, what do you think?
I'm super excited for James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I think James Gunn's awesome. I think if it's rated R, that gets me even more excited. That cast is out of this world. The story of Suicide Squad in the comic books is there, and it's awesome, and they just, ruined that in the Suicide Squad movie that came out a couple of years ago. So if we're scrubbing that from our brains, I still don't understand if this is a sequel or what exactly the deal is, but either way, James Gunn is making it. I trust in James Gunn, especially with the Suicide Squad. We've seen him do a group of misfits in the comic book universe that are kind of anti-heroes. He knows how to do this. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's like a soft reboot, because we still have... Is Harley Quinn in it? So Margot Robbie's going to be in it. The great part about Task Force X is that it can always be a bunch of different villains. It doesn't have to be the same villains over and over. So as long as you have like Amanda Waller, and as long as you have those villains and you keep the core elements, it doesn't really matter if they reference anything in the first movie, because I think that movie is a giant pile of shit. It doesn't make sense that they made an extended cut, because it just adds more useless scenes to characters that no one cares about. Now, I do have a question for you guys. Do you like Margot Robbie's interpretation of Harley Quinn? Because I like it and I don't like it. Maybe the parts that I don't like are the direction that her character was given in the first Suicide Squad movie. I felt like they were playing up the fact that she's sexy, and they literally have her on a stripper pole. I didn't like that stuff. I think Harley Quinn is sexy. She can be sexy, just not in that way. I felt like it wasn't handled with respect for the Harley Quinn that I grew up with, Bruce Timm and the animated series. Like, what do you guys think?
I completely agree with you. Like, I think that there are elements of that Harley Quinn that are great. I think that the voice, she gets down. I actually really like the look and the character design and everything. Where it messes with me is her like being on the stripper pole and like licking the prison bars and like trying to seduce the guards, and the guards making super crude comments to her. Like, it's just this weird thing that kind of has started happening to Harley Quinn the last couple of years. We're like over sexualizing her, and I'm just not really here for it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that she gets the voice down, she gets a lot of the mannerisms down, but they do like way over sexualize her, and I'm hoping that Birds of Prey will kind of correct that. I don't have a lot of faith in that movie per se, but I'm interested in seeing her play this character again. So I'm interested in Birds of Prey for that reason, but I'm very, very excited for the Suicide Squad, mainly because they are bringing, as far as I know, they are bringing Amanda Waller back as well, and we get Idris Elba in there this time too. Like, that's enough for me to go and see this movie, knowing that James Gunn is in the director's and writer's seat. Like, it's going to be a good movie. I can't think of a single James Gunn movie that I don't enjoy on some level.
Yeah.
What do y'all think of the Birds of Prey trailer, just real quick?
I don't like it. I think it looks like they're trying to make it look way too much like Suicide Squad, which from a business standpoint makes sense because Suicide Squad made almost $800 million. But I don't like the 90-minute music video style, and that's what it looks like to me. I think that the cast of characters look great. I like the casting of everyone. It's just the tone of the trailer, it's not working for me.
Yeah, I agree. The tone of the trailer is very strange. I'm not really sure what they're going for, and I don't get why Harley Quinn has like full Harley Quinn outfit and everyone else is just like wearing hoodies. Like, I don't like whenever, like in the first X-Men movies, Bryan Singer's X-Men movies, they do that where they're like, we're going to put them in leather, we're gonna have like a little bit of yellow in there, but they're just gonna be in leather outfits. It's like, no, put them in their costume, come on.
Yeah, I am not really on board with the Birds of Prey trailer. You hit the nail on the head whenever you said the 90-minute music video format. That's exactly what Suicide Squad was, and it had like 2 good songs on the soundtrack. And
I didn't like any of them.
Yeah, I like Heathens, and I like Purple Lamborghini.
Yeah,
with
Purple
Rick Ross.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's a good song.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it was a total mess of a movie. But I don't think that James Gunn would not sign on if that was what's going to happen with the Suicide Squad. Now, I don't know if that's what's going to happen with Birds of Prey. I don't know why Black Mask doesn't have a black mask. But I'm interested to see how Ewan McGregor does, because I always love him. But yeah, I have a lot of problems with that trailer, but I'm still going to see the movie because A-list and Harley Quinn.
Yeah. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but do you guys think that these films will benefit from being rated R? I don't really see anything in these that they need to be rated R besides like language and stuff, because in this day and age you can get away with a lot of stuff in PG-13. I believe it's I think it's X-Men Apocalypse where they have that Berserk scene with Wolverine. That was really graphic for PG-13. You can get away with a lot. Do you think that these films would benefit at all from being rated R?
I think that from a business perspective, it's pretty smart actually. I think that they're tapping into this whole group of people that are wanting to see more adult themed comic books. I think they saw that with Joker and Deadpool and Logan. Like, the few that we've been getting have made a shit ton of money. Like, I can't really think of right now off the top of my head an R-rated comic book movie recently that didn't do well. Seems like they all did really, really well because people are like hungry for that. We've been seeing so many. We get 3 Marvel movies a year. We get 3 PG-13 blockbuster kind of safer Marvel movies. I love the Marvel movies. They're a little bit safer. They don't take as many risks in the storytelling or in their symbolism or anything. I think that in an R-rated movie you can do a lot more, and I think that it's kind of smart to do these isolated R-rated comic book movies for kind of more adult themed fans.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that it is a really cool market that's been opened up by movies like Deadpool and Logan and Joker, and I hope that they continue to make more of these adult-themed comic book movies because they're so much fun and they feel different from the normal kind of comic book movies that we've been given over the past decade.
Yeah, I agree completely. Where I'm worried is I don't want them to turn into the Predator, because it's like, it's rated R. Let's get super gory. Let's say fuck every 2 minutes. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah,
it's DC and it's Warner Brothers. That's going to happen pretty soon. It's going to be like one of their like third or fourth R-rated movie is just going to be like that. It's going to be really forced and it's not going to work. Well, it's going to happen.
They just released the animated Harley Quinn series trailer, and I think the first episode is out, and it is super R-rated, like very gory. There's a ton of fucks in the trailer alone. It's got great reviews. The last time I checked, it had a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for the first episode of it. But yeah, I think they already have gotten there by doing this animated Harley Quinn series and making it that kind of really, really edgy, lot of gore, a lot of language, and who knows what else they're going to do on that show.
Yeah, I'm okay with being edgy, but just saying fuck just because you have an R rating, just it doesn't work for me, and I really hope they stray away from that. So WB says that they're not done with the Green Lantern. So I am very, very interested in this, and Collider did an article on this, and in the article there is potentials for a movie, there's potential for a TV series that could end up on HBO Max. Like, I think this would be really cool. I don't want to see another Green Lantern movie. I think this is another property that would benefit a lot more from being on TV. There's a lot with the Green Lantern Corps. There's a lot of character building you would have to do with that Green Lantern. I think partially where the movie failed, it's you have 90 minutes to say, oh, well, this guy goes from being who he is to being this brave character that we know at the end in order to defeat the bad guy. I feel like you need more than 90 minutes to tell that kind of story, and a mini series like 8 episodes dealing with Oa. I would love to see Jon Stewart as that Green Lantern. I feel like there's so much you could do with a TV series. There's so much you could give to a villain on a TV series instead of just having a villain. It's like, oh, I'm pissed off at the beginning, now I'm a villain at the end, and you're gonna see me for 15 minutes at the end, and then it's gonna be over. Like, I think it would benefit so much more from a TV series. Let me get your thoughts.
Yeah, I am definitely on board for like an anthology series with the Green Lantern Corps. Like, give me a different Green Lantern every season, or focus more on one Green Lantern each season. There's so many different Green Lanterns out there.
Like Altered Carbon, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to explore that universe that way. And they have so many different story options too. There are so many different Green Lanterns. There's so many different Green Lantern story arcs. So it definitely lends itself more to being a series than a movie. I think them trying to stuff all of the stuff into even just a 2-hour Green Lantern Corps movie, it might not be enough. So yeah, I'm all on board for a series.
So Green Lantern is one of my least favorite characters, like in any comic book. Like, I just don't really care about him. I think that his powers are very vague, and I don't understand how he can just make anything out of the ring. It's like half the time that I'm watching him in the
power
TV
of
show.
Will, man.
If I'm watching him in the TV show or in any of these animated movies, I'm like, well, why didn't you just make like a gun there and then shoot him or something? Why did you make like a power drill to unscrew the wall to make the wall fall? I don't know. I just think the Green Lantern's super lame, but you guys are going to be on board for the idea of a TV show, because I think that if you do like a buddy cop style with Hal Jordan and what's his name, the other main Green Lantern? Jon Stewart. You do Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan, buddy cop on HBO on the think scale and production value of Watchmen, like,
dude, yes,
that's what that would be awesome. Like, that
would be really,
that
really
could
cool.
Really get me into Green Lantern for sure.
Green Lantern Lethal Weapon mashup.
There you go.
That would be sick. Even if they just get it into a movie, I would love to see them do it like how the MCU does Hulk, where you kind of introduce the Green Lantern Corps in a completely different movie. You introduce one character from the Green Lantern Corps in like a different movie, and then you have a Green Lantern movie. So I think there's ways to do it. So I really think there's ways to do it in that vein. If you wanted to go the movie route, I would just personally prefer a TV series. So our last topic that I wanted to bring up today was Avatar 2 actually wraps filming. We have been hearing about these fucking Avatar sequels for literal years. The first Avatar came out in 2009, and I believe there's 4 sequels coming. There's 4
5 total movies.
Yeah, 5 total movies, 4 more sequels, and I believe the the release date for Avatar 2 is December 17th, 2021. I'm excited. I'm still really excited for these movies. James Cameron is a genius. The guy, before he got into filmmaking, took apart an entire camera, took apart several different filmmaking pieces of technology just to figure out how it works from the ground up. And he has revolutionized how people make films since Terminator. I think Avatar really pushes the boundaries of visual effects and everything that you can do there. I'm really excited for all of these sequels. What do you guys think about Avatar 2, and do you think 5 sequels are necessary?
So if you would have asked me that like 2 weeks ago, I would have said I don't give a shit. But I rewatched Avatar on Disney Plus, and I think it's awesome and super ahead of its time and aged really well. So I am all on board for more Avatar movies. Like, especially if we're not going to be getting Star Wars movies for a while. For the next couple of years, we get Avatar movies expanding that universe and going to other planets. And as far as I understand, I believe he's going into more of the underwater world of Pandora. Yes, James Cameron is a genius director. He's always years and years ahead of his time. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I still need to go back and revisit Avatar because I haven't seen it since it played in theaters. So it's been 10 years since I've seen this movie. It's on Disney Plus. I have no excuse not to watch it. So I'm gonna make that promise right now. I'm gonna watch Avatar this week, and I am on board with the idea of more sequels if they do something a little bit more original story wise than the original Avatar was, because that was my only complaint with the movie, was it felt like I would just watch Dances with Wolves over again. Everything else I remember being blown away with the visuals and the pacing of the movie, because it's got a long runtime. But yeah, I'm interested, but I'm sure I'll be more interested after I revisit the movie.
Yeah, you really should, dude. Like, being able to being a part of Pandora, it is such a visual experience. I don't think you've ever seen anything like the world of Avatar. It's so unique, all of these different creatures. I think the visuals still hold up today. It's crazy how good this fucking movie looks. I'm very excited for the sequels. I'm confused how Sigourney Weaver's character is coming back. Stephen Lang, his character, is also coming back, so I'm confused about that. But I mean, it's James Cameron. He will figure out a way to bring them back in some like different characters, or as Na'vi, who knows. I'm just really excited to see these sequels. I believe they're supposed to be coming out 1 year after the other, so I'm really excited for that. I know it's going to be worth it at the end. It's been so long, and I'm worried that audiences aren't going to show up for these sequels. Like, do you think there's any type of fatigue? Do you think that people won't care and won't show up? Like,
so I think domestically, that Avatar 2 won't make a ton of money. It won't make nearly as much, obviously, as the first Avatar. I don't think that any of these are even going to touch that. I don't think it's possible, because they don't say Marvel in front of them. I think internationally, this movie is going to do extremely well. I think the Chinese market is still going to eat this movie up. I think that it's weird that movie was for the longest time the biggest movie of all time, but there was still no like real cultural impact of it. Like, people don't dress up as Na'vi, you don't cosplay as people, no one really remembers the main character's name. Like, it's a weird thing where like it's the biggest movie ever, but people don't really think about it too much.
It's a theater experience though. Yeah. Like, there's no way there's no better way to experience Avatar like in the theater.
Yeah, and being able to see, like, the thought of seeing Avatar 2 in a Dolby theater is incredible to me, because like we saw the first one in IMAX 3D, and that was blew our brains and everything, but like Dolby theater is better than IMAX, so I can't wait to see an Avatar movie in Dolby.
Oh yeah.
Even they'll probably do a Dolby 3D for it, knowing James Cameron. Like, it's going to be the most immersive movie experience ever, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. That's all the news topic that I had that I wanted to talk about. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up?
I have one thing I wanted to bring up really quick.
Yeah.
Comcast put out this brilliant commercial short with E.T. Featuring Henry Thomas reprising his role as Elliot. It is so much fun. It is so moving. It's so nostalgic. It works really well as a commercial for the Comcast products without being like a shove it down your throat, this is a commercial. They do a really good job of incorporating that John Williams score. There were several moments that kind of got me choked up watching this. It is so much fun. Just if you search Comcast E.T commercial, I'm sure you'll be able to find it on YouTube. But if you're a fan of E.T at all, you gotta watch this. It's so good.
Yeah. Anytime that you play that John Williams score, it could just be, I don't know, it could be filming anything in the world, and I'd still get teared up because that music is so good. They know how to get your attention. Comcast does. I hate whenever companies have a really good commercial that really gets me. I'm just like, wow, fuck you. I feel so bad about liking a commercial.
I loved it. It got me so in the feels. I feel like whenever commercials come out trying to build on nostalgia from movies, it could come off really cheesy sometimes. This isn't cheesy at all. I feel like it perfectly fits. It makes sense to have E.T. just sitting there with his family watching movies and stuff. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was such a surprise for me to see that, and I had so much fun. Now it's the E.T. sequel that I never know that I needed. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that it's the best Spielberg sequel that's not called The Last Crusade.
Yeah, right? All right, guys, I think that is the best point to leave it on right there. I had so much fun on this episode. Brad, Blake, thank you guys so much for joining me.
It's always good to be here.
Yeah, always happy to be here.
Yeah, for the next 3 episodes, it's going to be all about Star Wars. The next episode is going to be, we're going to review the prequel trilogy all together. Then we're going to do the original trilogy. And then we're going to do Force Awakens and Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. If we time it right, we can get those last 3 movies all into that episode at the end of the month. I can't wait. We're going to have so much fun. I'm going to be shitting on some of these movies. I'm going to be praising some of these movies. Blake loves the prequels, so I can't wait to talk about the prequels with you guys.
I love all of them to death.
Yeah. It's going to be so much fun. Brad and Blake saw Queen and Slim. They saw Frozen 2. So if you want to hear their thoughts on that, make sure that you guys tune in to episode 3 of You've Got to See This. We're actually going to record that right after this recording. So keep your eyes peeled for that episode. These guys see so many different movies, and they give great non-spoiler reviews for all of the latest films coming out in the theater and on home video. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. You can follow us all over social media at C4Spoilers. If you want to find everything that we do, all the links to all of our podcasts, the Patreon, social media, head straight over to carefulforspoilers.com. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys on the next episode.